Hey guys, it's Miss Shoemake. Today we're going to do simplifying fractions. So to start, we're going to do proper fractions, which means that the numerator is less than the denominator, because you remember your denominator tells you how much is in your whole, not so much how many pieces you have. That's your numerator, okay? So for the proper fractions, what we're going to use is our GCF, okay, which is the greatest common factor. Okay, so to find the greatest common factor, we have to do factor trees. Okay, so remember we do our factor trees like this. So for example, if we had the fraction 8/12, okay, so 8/12, we know that both of these numbers are composite because they have more than two factors. So I would do my 8s and my 12s, and factors are the numbers that you multiply to get this product. So I'm looking for numbers that I multiply to get 8. So I know I can do 1 times 8, 2 times 4. 3 doesn't work, and 4 would be the next one, so that's a U-turn. We're going to stop there because it would just repeat. So for 12, the factors, the numbers that we can multiply to get 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. And 4 would be my next number, so again, I have a factor U-turn. So the greatest common factor means I'm looking for the number that is the largest, has the most value, that is common between the two factor trees. So I start at the biggest. I know 12 isn't common, 8's not common, 6 is not common. Now I see 4 on both factor trees. So I'm going to circle my 4 on each, and I'm going to draw a line under the one across from it. So the reason we draw the line is because it's telling us what numbers we're going to put in as our numerator and our denominator. So basically, what we're doing is taking our fraction and dividing it by the common factor, or the GCF of 4. Okay, so 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, so quick example. Remember, proper fractions, which means that the numerator is less than the denominator. We find the greatest common factor, do the factor trees for each, which means the numbers you multiply to get that number. Once you find that, you divide your fraction by it to get your simplest form answer. Okay? All right. Let's do improper fractions. Okay, so improper fractions means that the numerator has more value than the denominator. So when we have a fraction in that way, it means that we can take out a whole or maybe more than one whole. So when we have improper fractions, such as 11/6, okay? 11/6 is improper because 11 has more value than 6, okay? So what we can do is we can divide this number. Some of us may be able to do this mentally. Otherwise, this is my suggestion. So 11/6, we would take our numerator 11, divide it by the denominator of 6. Okay, so 6 cannot go into 1, but 6 can go into 11. How many times? 1, because 6 times 1 is 6. Okay, then we subtract and do our normal division. So I know I can't do 1 minus 6. I regroup. 11 minus 6, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, so now we're at this point. So we're going to take this improper fraction, and the way we're going to simplify it is to put it as a mixed number. So we need to know how many wholes did we take out, what will our numerator be, which is how many parts that are left over, and our denominator will stay the same. Okay, so here at the top, this is my whole. Then we go down, and the remainder is no longer a remainder. We're going to say it's our numerator. It's how many parts are left. And then we go back up to our divisor, and that is our our denominator, excuse me. So my denominator stays the same. My whole is 1. My numerator is 5. Denominator stayed the same. So the simplified version of 11/6 would be 1 5/6. Okay. Now, There are other ways to simplify. You can use a multiplication chart and find your fraction and find the simplest form that way. If you have fraction strips, you can mark where that fraction is and look above it to see what fraction could be also equivalent to it. But let's do 2 more examples. That way you get a hang of it a little bit more. Okay, so let's do 3/9. Okay, so 3/9, we would call it a proper fraction because 3 is less than 9. So I would do my factor trees for 3 and for 9. So I know 3 is a prime number, which means that it only has factors of 1 in itself. So to get the 3, I do 1 times 3. And then it's a factor U-turn because those are the only 2 factors that it has. So 9 is not a prime, it's a composite number, which means it has more than 2 factors. So 1 times 9 is a factor. 2 does not go into 9, 3 does. So 3 times 3 is 9. Since they're common, that's a U-turn. So we're trying to find what number is common, but we're looking for the greatest common factor. So the GCF can't be 9, but it is 3 because that is common. Okay, so I'm going to take my fraction, I'm going to rewrite it 3/9. I'm going to divide it on top and bottom by my GCF. Okay, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, new numerator. 9 divided by 3 is 3, new denominator. Okay. All right, last one. Let's try 18 fifths. Okay, so 18 is larger than 5, which makes this improper. So I'm going to take my numerator 18 divided by my denominator of 5. So 5 can't go into 1. 5 can go into 18. So 5 goes into 18. If you don't know, $15 is the closest, so I would say what goes on top is 3, bottom is 15. Okay, so 8 minus 5 is 3, 1 minus 1 is 0. Number on top is my whole, remainder is my numerator, divisor is my denominator. So we're going to say that 18 fifths is equivalent to 3 wholes and 3 fifths. So you'll need to be able to know how to simplify fractions such as these whenever you are adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing fractions. Hope it helped. Thanks.